All right, y'all. So I'm sitting on my couch last night. It's like 9 p.m. at night. I turned this video on. I don't even know how I got to this video. It just popped up. Actually, honestly, it popped up a couple months ago. And I was like, I ain't really trying to watch that. And then suddenly God was like, hey, you need to watch that. And so I was watching it last night and I'm like, I have to share this on the channel because what the heck? Like, what the heck? Yeah, y'all are in for a story. Let me just say something. This is a hospice nurse. What's her name? So I want to make sure I give her proper credit for this video. Hospice nurse Julie. Here's what's so interesting about this video. She witnessed a literal miracle. She witnessed a literal miracle. But I think the most interesting part is that she didn't believe in miracles. She was not somebody who is claiming to be a believer. She's not somebody who claimed to, believe in the supernatural. This is a nurse, a very, logical, science-driven thinking, person. And she's been a hospice nurse for, years. I don't know exactly how long, but she has a lot of experience with death. So hospice is like that final stage of care. So if a hospice nurse is coming to your house, then it's like there's not much time left. Like somebody's about to pass away. And she's been around death countless times, probably on a daily basis, right? This is the first time where she has witnessed something supernatural. And she said that it literally changed her. And I want to show you this video. And there's a massive twist that really caught my attention. And that's a lot of the reason why I wanted to show y'all this video is because of the twist that happens towards the middle/end of this video. Let me play this video. I'm gonna link her channel down below just to give her proper credit if any of y'all want to check it out. All right, y'all, let's go. Oh, the audio is not the best. So I'm just letting y'all know up front, but just listen to the story. I promise is gonna be worth it. All right, let's go.
So this is a story that changed me, and I think I witnessed a miracle. I am a medical professional and I do believe in science and facts and certainty, but this one story did have me questioning everything and made me believe in miracles and possibly supernatural things. I don't know what to think of it. So here is the miracle part of the story. I was doing a late admission years ago on hospice where I entered into the home. The patient was arriving from the hospital. It was late. To be very honest, I was a little annoyed, not at the patient, obviously, but just at work that I had to work late. And, I was hoping this would not take very long until I saw the patient and I saw that she was young and she was actively dying, which means dying within a few hours to a few days. And to me, the way she looked, I thought that night. So I thought she had a few hours left. So of course, I'm doing everything I can for this patient and then her family, which were her children. Her children were in their mid-20s and I could tell that they had no idea what was happening because they were asking me questions like, when is my mom going to wake up? When can we get her physical therapy? How are we going to feed her? Things like they weren't understanding that she was going to die and she was going to die soon. So how did I know that she was going to die and going to die soon? She was had changes in skin color. So she looked cyanotic, which basically means blue. Her lips were blue, her skin coloring was blue, which is not a bad thing. That's a normal thing at the end of life. But what was bad about it is that obviously her family didn't know what was going on. She had changes in breathing. So changes in breathing is like one of the last things I see when someone's about to die. She had terminal secretions, which is that death rattle I always talk about. So gurgling with every breath. She was fully unconscious. To me, she looked so close to death that I kind of wanted to just stay at the house because I thought she was going to die any minute. So once I got her settled and—
Listen to what she just said. The patient looked so close to death that she was just trying to stay at the house because she felt like it was about to be over any minute. Has all the signs that she's about to pass. Don't listen. All the signs that she's about to pass away. Don't gloss over that. Let me rewind it a little bit. Don't gloss over the details. All right.
I kind of wanted to just stay at the house because I thought she was going to die any minute. So once I got her settled and she never looked like she was uncomfortable. She always looked very peaceful. But once I got her settled at home, I took the kids aside and started explaining to them what was really happening, letting them know that their mom was very close to end of life, probably going to die that night. Here is why I think that, explaining everything that I just explained to you about her coloring, her changes in breathing, how she sounded, what she looked like, and asked them if there was anyone else they needed to call or to have come over to help support them. So of course they took the information so graciously miraculously, and they were calling family to get people over there. And I sort of just hung out, kind of waiting for her to die, thinking she was going to be dying definitely that night, probably before I left. And after about an hour or so, she was still alive, and I knew I had to be getting home. So I just told the children to, be with her, be with the family. She looks really comfortable. I explained everything, when to call us once she died, and that we would come back out and help them with the death certificate and all the different mortuary things. So they thanked me, and I left. And of course I went home thinking about the family and thinking about her, and just, I just felt for them. It was very sudden. They were not really prepared, and I was just hoping that she would have a peaceful death. So in the morning, I woke up and I looked at my phone to see who went to go do the death visit, because usually the family will call, and the nurse will go out and do what we call a death visit. And I didn't see the email. So I thought, oh, well, that's strange. I guess either they forgot to do the email or I don't know what happened. So I called the office and asked them, who went out to go see so-and-so. They likely died last night. And they were like, oh, we didn't get any death calls. So I thought, oh, that's weird. So I thought maybe the kids didn't call, or I literally never for 1 millisecond thought she didn't die. Like the way she looked, and I've been a nurse for many years by this point, the way she looked, I'd never seen someone come back from that. There was no way you could come back from that and be awake and alert and oriented, because your brain was not oxygenating. You can't live with that. So anyway, I called the family to ask what happened and see how they were doing, and just see how the night went. And the son answered and was really happy and was like, oh, hey, yeah, the night went great. Mom woke up this morning. She said she was hungry. She's in the kitchen eating pancakes. And my jaw dropped. I didn't want to act completely surprised, just because I don't know. I'm just trying to be there for the family, right? So I'm thinking, what the hell? This can't be real. And I'm like, what's going on? And they're like, yeah, mom's awake, said she was hungry. She's in the kitchen eating pancakes. And I hear them laughing in the kitchen. So I was just like, great. I'm going to come over and see you guys. Because I was thinking, in my head, I'm thinking, I can't believe this. And sure enough, I go over there and this woman is awake, alert, looking very much alive, and eating and drinking and walking around. And to me, that is truly a miracle. There is no medical way this woman could be looking how she looked last night and awake, and not only awake, but walking, talking, alert and oriented, and eating. And that woman—
She essentially said there's no medical way that woman should have been alive at that point in time. After the state that she was in the previous night, to be awake, eating pancakes, laughing, eating pancakes, there's no natural way that should have happened. There's no natural way keep listening.
Ended up living 3 more months very well. So walking, talking, eating, not having pain. She did eventually die on hospice from her disease. But to me, there still stands a miracle, because there's no way someone can be so close to death and then to come back from that and still be alert and oriented and able to move and talk and walk and eat. That's my miracle story. I feel like I witnessed a miracle. If you made it this far in the video, there is a twist. But before I tell you what that twist is, I want to know what you think it is. So you tell me in the comments what you think. Okay,
hold on. She's about to get into the twist. The twist is a large reason why I wanted to show this video. But before we get into the twist, you know what my mind was thinking last night when I was watching this? I'm just going to be honest with y'all. Instantly, my mind, and I'm not proud of this, my mind went to discredit the miracle that took place. Because I don't know if you caught it, but she said that, after that happened, the woman went on to live for 3 more months. And then eventually she passed away on hospice, right? But it was for 3 more months. In my just fleshly, just pea brain, I'm thinking man, 3 months. I'm expecting a big miracle, oh, she went on and lived for years after that. But it's just 3 months. But you know what's so crazy? It's God's ways are higher than our ways. That's what the Bible says. His thoughts are higher than our thoughts. What I might perceive to be a small miracle is simply my perception. It's simply my perception, because I don't know what God was able to do in that length of time, in that 3 months. There's no telling the miracles that stacked on top of that miracle, that stemmed from that miracle, from those 3 months and beyond. But I'm over here just tripping because I'm thinking I thought it was going to be bigger. I thought it was going to look different. I thought it was going to be more, climactic or something. But God's ways are higher than our ways. His thoughts are higher than our thoughts. Now, here's the twist. And I'm very curious to know what y'all think about this twist. And real quick, I'm gonna show y'all the twist, but something just came to my mind. Even so, this miracle, right? It's a massive miracle. Coming back, you basically came back from the dead, right? But look at the impact that it's having. This woman, she said it herself. She said, "Yo, I'm a logical, scientific, that's how I think. I go off the facts. I don't think from a supernatural standpoint." And I'm sure a lot of her audience, because she has a big audience, a lot of her audience are probably similar thinking individuals. But now she has this encounter. And now if you read the comments, and I'm going to read you a few comments from this video after I show you the twist. If you read the comments, it's a lot of people talking about God. It's a lot of people sharing testimonies. It's a lot of people talking about Jesus. And I'm not sure if she had that dynamic in her comment section before this story happened. So this miracle, even today, is having such a large impact. And immediately my mind goes to discredit it. I'm just wondering how many of us, immediately go to discredit something because we perceive it to be small, when God is actually working something larger than we could ever imagine. All right, let me show y'all the twist. Y'all probably like, Nick, just play the video. All right, I got you. Here's the twist.
So you tell me in the comments what you think. Okay, so here's the twist to the story. The part that I feel always shy to tell people because it's not something I'm used to, or I don't even know if I think it's real, but I can just tell you from my experience and then witnessing this miracle, how I feel like it all ties in together. So that night, when I was with this family, I was settling in the patient, the one who was actively dying, and her kids were in the other room. I was in her room, I was settling her in the bed, she was unconscious, and I suddenly had a vision of, for lack of better words, like a being behind her bed. And what it felt and looked like was a big angel. Now, the angel to me is not like what we would think an angel would look like, or what I would typically think an angel would look like, with like wings and like small little fairy-like glowy angel. It was like this huge, solid being, the best way I can describe it. Huge, like as big as a car, behind her bed, all the way to the ceiling, super, super solid and cream colored. So I can like really picture it even as I'm speaking right now. The best way I can describe it is like, if you grew up Catholic, there's like a Mother Mary statue that's kind of like stoic and like the head's like pointing down. And it was like that. It was definitely like a body or a being. And I think it actually did feel like it had wings, but the wings were behind it, like not opened. And the being or the angel in that moment felt like it was just there for her. Like the being knew I was there, but it didn't care. And it didn't actually feel super soft and loving. It felt powerful. Like this all was happening within milliseconds, just so you know. And the only way I could describe it is in hindsight. When it was happening in the moment, I brushed it off because I didn't know what was going on. And it only was until the next day when I saw her up and awake and I was like, holy crap, I feel like I just witnessed a miracle. Did my brain go back to that night where I felt this being in the room? And it was a big, solid, powerful being that felt like it was there specifically for her, and it knew her very well. That's what it felt like. It felt like it was hers. This was her angel or her thing that was there to protect her and help her. Again, it's so crazy for me to even talk about this because it hasn't happened before and it hasn't happened since. But it was the one time I feel like I witnessed a miracle, and it was the one time that night before I left, I knew I had seen something in my mind's eye and I had felt something, but I quickly brushed it off, of course, because I'm a medical professional who believes in science and facts, and I don't really, I've never witnessed angelic things, right? But then after I came back that next morning and she was alert, oriented, awake, and lived for another 3 months and was eating pancakes and laughing with her kids, I thought, I think I know why. To me, that night in her room, it was like she had her own personal angel that was either healing her or protecting her or, giving her more time. I don't know what the purpose of the angel was, but I know that the next day she was no longer actively dying and she lived for another 3 months. And again, the angel, for lack of better words, like, I don't even know if you want to call it an angel. That's what I'm calling it. But it was like a being of solidness and power. And it wasn't scary at all. Like, not one part of me was scared, but it just wasn't this like soft, frilly, fluffy thing that we would normally consider what angels would be like. It felt like this very solid, powerful thing that for whatever reason seemed to help her that night. So that's it, you guys. There it is. There it is.
Look, y'all take that how you want to take that. I think that's incredible. And I think that goes to show that, God is very strategic in the way that he uses individuals who may not know him quite yet. You know what I'm saying? Because just because you're not a believer doesn't mean that God can't use you in some way, or, reveal himself to you in some way. He does it all the time. But I think he's very strategic in when he has those moments in order to create the most amount of impact, to bring people, the most amount of people to him, right? I want to read this comment real quick. Where was this comment? I think it's this one right here. Let me show my screen. Let me read this comment. I don't know. I just thought this was a very interesting comment. And it kind of goes back to what I was saying in terms of like the impact that this encounter has had on her audience. It seems like, let me read this comment. This is from 3 weeks ago. This is from, I don't know how to pronounce her name, but it's highlighted so y'all can see it, right? So it says, I am also a nurse. However, my story, although it happened at work, was actually very personal to myself. I worked as a staff nurse at a specialist dementia unit and was pregnant with my little girl at the time. Some of the patients were very gentle with me because they sensed I was carrying a baby. Unfortunately, I had a daughter, but she died in my arms shortly after birth. At my baby girl's funeral, I had Amazing Grace played as we carried her coffin into the church. I used to sing it to her while I carried her in my womb, and she would calm right down as she was very active and moved a lot. When my baby girl was born, she had O1 type 2, and almost every bone in her body was broken and fused and broken again, and there was zero chance of her surviving. When I finally returned to work after bereavement leave, one of my patients with more advanced dementia grabbed my hand, looked at me with tears in her eyes, and started humming Amazing Grace. This lady was advanced in her dementia and never spoke. She then put a hand on my stomach, then touched my face to wipe away my tears. Golly. And spoke. She told me I see her. She's such a beautiful blonde-haired angel, and her body isn't broken. It doesn't hurt anymore. I'm going to see her tomorrow, and I'll cuddle her for you. My baby girl was very blonde, and I have dark hair. My patient then went back to being how she was several months before, not speaking, barely able to move. 2 carriers entered where my patient and I were together because they couldn't believe that she spoke. So 2 other people came in because they couldn't believe that this patient was speaking, right? They thought they heard her talking, and as they walked away, they were in shock too. Listen to this. The next day, although an advanced stage of dementia, she was never considered to be in like a stage where she was about to pass away. But the next day after that happened, the lady passed away suddenly. She knew it was her time and helped bring comfort to me when I needed it the most. Man. It said this lady had dementia, never spoke, was completely out of it, somehow knew what the nurse was going through, put a hand on the nurse's stomach, wiped away the tears from her face. It's so interesting because the Bible says that God will wipe away every tear. And she tells the nurse, I see her. She's such a beautiful soul, basically, right? I don't know. I just think things like that are incredible. And it points to the bigger reality that everything that we're doing here is temporary. This is just a temporary dwelling place. It's temporary. And we're going to go one of 2 places after we leave this temporary place that we call home. We're actually really going to go home, which is eternity in heaven, or we're going to go to hell. And things like this are just a bigger reminder of the need to establish a relationship with Jesus Christ and put your faith in Jesus Christ. Because these things are real. You have nurses who say, hey, I never believed in any of this stuff. I'm a very logical, scientific driven person. I don't believe in supernatural miracles. And now she's reconsidering her whole thought process because of this encounter that she had. Let me know what you think about this video. Get in my comments. I'm out, y'all.